of our forum, Astana Finance Day. I would like to greet all of you at our session. So today we are going to speak about opportunities and realities versus reality, what fund managers face in the AFC. First of all, I would like to express gratitude to our sponsors, Freedom Broker, Kaz Mineral, and ITS for their support of our forum and AIFC. Today we are going to have a very interesting session, and you have an opportunity to dive into the world of fund management because we have invited leaders in this industry, and I personally know each of the speaker, and I want to reassure you that our speakers are very experienced and we are all lucky. My name is Zhanna Diyarova and I am independent expert in the AFC. I worked in this jurisdiction for 7 years and I am able to maintain our conversation with our speakers. Let me introduce our speakers and I want to inform you, unfortunately, we do not have time for Q&A, but I think it would be a very good opportunity for each of you to come to each of our speakers personally and ask all your questions directly. So now we are going to go to our analysts. So today with us we have Yerzhan Mussin. He is the CEO of Fonte Capital. Besides 12 or 15 funds, Fonte Capital launched a trade in Bitcoin exchange, the first ETF, and it's a great opportunity for investors to join the dynamics of Bitcoin without the direct, how it's called. Okay, the person will tell you, Yerzhan will tell you more about it. And this news was very interesting for all people in this sector. And today we also have Nikolay Shestak, CEO of Zubr Capital. This is a company in private equity. For more than 15 years, they're working in this sector. More than 30 investments have been implemented, 5 successful exits, 5 companies in the portfolio worth more than $1 billion. IT, tech, mid-tech, and my favorite fact about this company is that the founder of Zubr Capital was born in Kazakhstan, and the company has offices in Poland, in Cyprus, and other places. And recently, this company launched its office in the AIFC. Now, also we have today Alexey Panyushkin, who is the Director of Business Development, Abylai Global Solutions, or AGS, a brief abbreviation, a brief name. They are pioneer in many projects, and recently they launched one of the umbrella funds with a full digital support. And they have the specific parameter where investors would be able to exchange some equity with other equities. And also very interesting facts about this company is the following one. It's this information is not for public, but when this company appeared in public register, I was interested in this name, Abylai Global Solutions, and I expected that in the founders there would be a person named Abylai or Abylai Khan. I didn't find anyone, and when I met CEO, I asked, why do you have this name? What were you inspired? And actually, the inspiration was our Abylai Khan. If you are not from Kazakhstan, please Google the name Abylai Khan. He's a great figure in Kazakh history. Then next speaker is Olga M., founder of Vitis Capital, director of the investment fund Vitis Career Fund. The uniqueness of Vitis Fund is that they unite cultural code of Korea and Kazakhstan through investment transactions. Today we have a very interesting session. We're not going to have reports, presentations. We will just have a live talk, a vivid conversation. It would allow us to go deeper to such interesting sector as fund management. Let us start from our questions, and we'll start from Yerzhan. Yerzhan, could you tell us, please, So you have a great experience, and AIFC as a jurisdiction, is this like regulatory labyrinth, or it's a story about simplified procedures? Any difficulties that your company faced with, and how did you overcome them? Thank you so much, Zhanna, and I'm very happy to be here today and to share my experience. I think that AIFC is unique because here we can have a very good discussion. You're always able to express your opinion and to tell people about the experience that you've had. So our company now manages 20 investment funds. I will just specify the number and correct the numbers that you gave. Our company exists for 3 years. As for, I mean, uh, if I compare my company with other companies, we are, let's say, a bit older by this duration of our license. And we had different challenges during these years. Of course, the time dedicated during this session to me is not enough to tell everything. But I'm going to be here for 2 days. And if some beginners or some other companies that are planning to start this activity, if they're interested, please come to me. I'll be glad to talk to you and to share my ideas, my know-hows. Okay, by analyzing the experience that we had over these 3.5 years, looking back at all the time, I can say the following. The main challenge for us was that we didn't understand how the AFC operates or is working. I mean, this is what happens. We and all my team, we are all from traditional finances, and we worked in the companies that were under the license of local regulator. And when we came to the AFC, there were some, let's say, rumors about the companies that work here. There were companies that consulted with regard to doing business here in the AFC. We have passed all this way. We hired the company who helped us to receive a license. We worked a lot. But again, finally, all the documents that we submitted initially for licensing were changed, amended, and actually, to be honest, we did this work twice. And this was because we didn't understand how it works, because everything in the AFC and everything that we have in our legislation, I mean, everything is there, all the rules, what are the requirements, deadlines, and it's in our legislation. But here it works in a different way than in traditional sector. And I think that over these 3 years we've learned how to do our work here in the AFC, and now I can tell you that we feel comfortable here in the AIFC because we understand what shall be done, how it should be done, and any new thing in this platform is for implementation. It is possible to implement everything. Initially when we started the first umbrella fund, we did this ETF for Bitcoin, and tomorrow, by the way, we will also going to have very interesting event. What I want to say, you can do everything here, but you need to understand, and of course you need to share your vision, and you need to go with all of your ideas to regulator to discuss. You need to show that this is the way you want to do it, and then you would receive feedback, and then by this you are able to build the project so that this project would come to the point. So actually for these 3.5 years, we've been doing all of this, and now we work jointly with AFSA, with AX, and we know all the employees everywhere because we meet them during our work activity. But the first challenge is the absence of knowledge. And due to our experience, we were able to receive all necessary knowledge, and now we feel comfortable. This was the main challenge that we had. And the second challenge, I think, is related to the staff. As the platform itself is new for Kazakhstan, and here we have the English common law, English language is the main language. And of course, all of this affected the situation. And in Kazakhstan, we didn't have lots of specialists that would be perfectly fit for, let's say, for taking this good position in the specific direction. So that's why we had some issues related to hiring staff and some other difficulties. We had compliance, back office. We were hiring our team, and then we did some actions again and again, and we gave trainings for our employees, and we showed them how the work here is done. Then we started our own program, Tinger, and this is a training program for specialists, and we can prepare specialists in every area, and then the specialist would be able to develop AIFC and future managers in this area. Thank you. That's great. So these specialists would work not only for your company, but they work for other participants of AIFC. Yes, speaking about our experience, we have lots of employees who left our company and they went to competitive firms, but I think it's okay. Because everything is for the benefit of our market, and there is enough place for everyone and space for everyone, and I think we'll be doing new projects, and again, it's all about the synergy, and that's for the better. Okay, thank you so much for your reply. Now, Nikolay, next question is to you. This question is a non-standard question for the person, for the AIFC, but you have a very good experience at international arena. And if you can compare the jurisdiction of other countries and this one, the AIFC one, are there any drawbacks or disadvantages for AIFC? And if there are some, what could be improved in your opinion? Maybe something with regard to regulation, with regard to infrastructure, and with regard to some other things that are important for asset management. Okay, let me do it stage by stage. Yes, now we'll speak about new opportunities. Let me first continue with the lack of knowledge, right? This is the lack of knowledge, in my opinion, would be compensated by the wish, right? What we find in the AIFC is that there is a great desire from AIFC management, from the consultants at work. We see great wish to do something better, faster, more cool than some other facilities do. And that's why AIFC is different if we compare with some other jurisdictions, because we work in Cyprus, Jersey. But in Cyprus, the word wish, actual wish and Cyprus, that are incomparable things. The atmosphere there is different, yes, because work-life balance there is that on Friday, on Saturday, you go to the sea. In New Jersey, the situation is different. We see standardized procedures there. If for a long time you have the same things, then as soon as you have very difficult task, it would be resolved, but it could be resolved only with the high expenses, and sometimes it isn't worth it. And they have a very clear distinction. Administrators do one thing, other consultants do the other thing, and you do not understand why there are so many people during this meeting just to resolve one minor issue. So we see that AIFC is suitable for resolving many things. And the other characteristic of the AIFC, actually, this is, the language that we are using now, and it's also benefit for a specific region. For example, if we take the region where we're located, for example, neighborhoods, CIS countries, I think this is one of the best platforms. This is an opportunity to express your idea, to resolve some complex tasks, and we know that there are different challenges at the global level. That's about AIFC. And now let us broaden this discussion and let's speak about potential. I think AIFC, it's not only about infrastructure. We need to speak about potential of activity, because if we look at the classical financial centers, let's take Cayman, Jersey, they are all island countries. Lawyers, financial people, only they and nothing else. You're not able to form your pipeline. You're not able to find other contacts for inspiration. Cyprus is better with this regard, but in Cyprus there are already mature companies, and they actually are our target companies, but there is a limitation with regard to access to staff. And it's very difficult to grow there because 1 million people live there, and the growth of your company is able only through relocation. Dubai and Abu Dhabi, well, it's a cool region, but as I think, recently this region is over fat with a cheap financing, and this story is similar to, for example, what we see in Poland when state regulator started to do everything in the early stage, and then it was a competition for valuation, but it didn't lead to anything good. We don't work like this, but Kazakhstan for us, it's a very good potential of opportunities. We are looking now, and yesterday actually we had one session, and I have warm feelings after yesterday's session. Maybe it's not our stage, but I see a great potential for growth. And when we were trying to make a decision, for us it was important to form our portfolio and to invest. And we set some specific goals, and we thought that within this second fund and then up to 15 million, we need to have the transaction in the nearest 2 years. And we could do it in Kazakhstan or in the nearby region. But to be frank, I found out that recently we invested in the companies that work in Tajikistan and Mongolia. So I can say that we are coming closer to Kazakhstan, but we hope that will be other investments. Thank you. Thank you so much, Nikolay. I really like all your words, especially what you've said in the beginning. There were lots of philosophy, and we could use it not only about investment, but it could be applicable just to your life. Please take it into consideration. I am ready to refuse my copyrights. Okay, now let us move to Alexey. Trust from investors is one of the big challenges when we speak about fund management or when we speak about any asset management for our client. Could you please share your experience? How was it for you to attract investors? Was there any skepticism because AIFC jurisdiction is still, we could say, young? And if there was some skepticism, what could have been done? What could be done to improve it and to increase the trust from investors? Thank you. Thank you so much, Zhanna, for your interesting question. And thank you for such interesting presentation of our company. You opened all our secrets. To be honest, there were many challenges because when we just started our first funds, it was about a year ago. At that moment, there were already some funds in the AFC, but the practice itself started to be formed a bit later. And the main difficulty was the following. Regulation is very flexible, and mainly we work with large private investors, institutional investors, and in such cases, you when you look at regulation, you do not understand. You have lots of questions. How these mechanisms work, what should be provided for, because you cannot something prescribe. Flexible regulation is very good because it allows to find the solution for each investor. But on the other hand, this is also the main difficulty.
It is a risk for the managing company and for the fund manager, because the burden of the safety lays on the shoulder of the managing company, not on the regulator. Well, all of us deal with these issues differently. We had been creating our fund, and it took us more than half a year, and for us it was very difficult project and one of the most complicated projects, and it ended up with 150 pages and 6 documents for regulation of the fund. Well, we wanted to have this first fund, but our colleagues actually overrun us and became the first one. And we tried to foresee all of the regulations, conditions, and make it comfortable for investors to work with our fund. And as a result, we created a fund that you can enter through one click. You can sell or buy with one click, which has a huge work behind. Because of this kind of... So what investors need at the end of the day, except the security and safety, it's the convenient client path, journey. So all of the structure is great for that. What regulator can do and what shall you pay attention to? So we are forming the practice of organizing and regulating the funds, and to our perspective, regulators are quite liberal nowadays, and they give opportunity for participants, and there's a room for maneuver. And at the same time, they structure the funds as they wish. There's no unified practice, and I think that this is quite a great opportunity to collect best practices that we could compile within 6 months and start navigating the practices of the structuring the funds, and in a quite clear way, because most of the investors are looking at markets, and it is puzzles them, to be really honest. And for regulators, it is opportunity to make the recommendations, to give access for the information, to disclose the information, because sometimes investors are asking where I could see the list of the funds and what information is accessible on open sources. So this is something that you could improve. It starts from the working groups, from sessions of the feedback. So we would like to have more movement towards the participants of the market and be more proactive. But yeah, AIFC and creating funds here, it is the unique story on a post-Soviet Union territory, on dynamics and territory. We see that for starting from this year, the quantity of the funds had really increased, and it's all registered funds are more than from the start of the company, and we see that quite a traction and inertia, and it seems like this is the machine that you cannot stop already, and I would like to wish AFC to keep it and save it, navigate it, navigate the industry to the directions of the best practices. Thank you so much, Alexey, for your answer. When I was elaborating that we won't have the reports and presentations, that's what I meant, that the replies are truthful and real ones. And half a year spent to open to font because it's the umbrella font. But if it's different font, then it's easier, actually. I just don't want to scare away colleagues. Another thing that I would like to mention I think for the first time I've heard about the flexibility of the regulator could be a challenge. I think that colleagues from regulating side will actually be glad to hear that. I would like to ask Olga, in the frame of your experience with AFC, have you ever faced any kind of challenges that you had to overcome, and have you found any kind of life hacks? It'll be great if you could elaborate on that. Thank you so much for your question. The question itself is simple and complicated at the same time. As Yerzhan had already mentioned, our team is from the strict regulation place, and we were surprised in a positive way regarding the friendliness from the regulator. It was a shock that the coordinator is calling, that we can actually contact and keep in touch and consult. And Zhanna, knowing you from 2018, even now, I'm still impressed and surprised, because always setting the bars high and keeping this level, because there was a skepsis, because our first experience was quite drastic one, and at that times the regional fund, but I was working in Moscow. In 2025, seeing the renaissance, rebirth of new and old faces, I was happy that our company is the resident of AFC, and I don't know if colleagues have replied or not. Being attractor of the international investment from Asia, particularly from South Korea, I have heard very good, positive feedback about Kazakhstan, because they're going to Hong Kong, there's a Dubai, for example, and Astana is the star. And what I would like to mention, our company, Vinskapital, was actually supposed to be investment advising, but we received in 2024. And the second license, I would like to, Zhanna, extend gratitude to you, because you have consulted that we have to include the license for arranging deals, because our investment boutique is the high net service rendering. And in this regards, Nikolay, you have already mentioned that this network allows to experiment and offer high-quality, customized solutions. So license helps us actually, and this is how we are thriving in a comfortable way in AIFC. Thank you so much, Olga. Colleagues, take example from Olga. Only positive things. You talk about only negative things. Well, regarding the readiness In this regards, we are afraid of regulators, the different coefficients of the liquidity, and many, many things. So this is quite a, like a fresh air. We had a dialogue, and we had invited risk management, the internal audit, but we didn't have to do that, actually. So in this regard, I would like to say that we were super ready for the procedure. Well, from the experience of talking to regulators, I know that a lot of people afraid of it, but they are open for the new ideas. We have some time. I would like to ask for all of the panelists. The question is quite short, and I would like to hear a couple of words and associations. If you had to do it again, so looking back on your journey, you would start from the beginning. What would you have done differently when starting operations in the AFC? Olga, let's start from you. You're a more positive one. Well, I would like to say that we actually really dance on eggshells. We had an experience of registration and Pi investment funds in 2007, and we failed, and this was quite a fear to be in a new jurisdiction, to open the fund of elective investment, and we had quite an expectation. So, and whenever you have this kind of expectations in this regard, I would like to note that for me it was a shock that I'm not a lawyer, by the way, that Pi investment fund in Kazakhstan, its asset, it's just a pool of assets. Once you come to AFC, it's the legal entity. This is the BIN, etc. So I forgot the question. What was the question? If you had to do it again, what would you do differently? Everything is awesome. I would do it again the same way. I'm kidding. I'm joking, but I'm happy that your answers are sincere. Alexey, what would you do differently? We would think less, talk more to regulators, because we have a, shivering, we shiver right before the regulators. We have this kind of legacy, we need to think on regarding regulator that they don't just control and monitor, they also consult. So don't be afraid to ask your coordinators. It's better to do it on an earlier stage rather than later stages, as representative of the regulator had said, and everything will be awesome if you will ask questions on early stages. Nikolay, what would you do differently? Well, as a continuation of our discussion, I would meet Zhanna earlier. This is not a joke. It's a justified answer, because we had been considering AIFC for 2 years. We have a friend in Kazakhstan. He gave us consultant, and after talking to this consultant, I thought we need to wait, because the answer was, we will do everything. He said, I don't know what you need, but we will do everything. And I was quite taken aback, because that person didn't understand what we need, but he was assuring us that he will do. And then we decided to conduct the research and then try to employ here and meet with AIFC. We talked to regulator, and it's a pleasure, because we had a feedback, we had recommendations, we had understanding of the process. So briefly, we would start earlier. Thank you, Nikolay. Well, take away. Meet me first, and then you'll be awesome. Yerzhan, what would you do differently? Well, I know that I might seem negative, but I will side with positive Olga, because we wouldn't change anything, because the journey that we had traveled, it's our story, and without it, we wouldn't be standing solid on a solid ground. And 3.5 years of experience every single day is growing exponentially. So I would say definitely that everything what we had to do was valuable, and it just increased our experience. I wouldn't change anything. Thank you so much. Dear guests, we are drawing conclusion, and I would like to express gratitude to our speakers for your sincere answers. I'm joking, you're not negative at all. But Olga is my favorite one still. Well, the reason why we have chosen this topic, we could choose anything. So we decided to choose the asset management, because this is something that is increasing quite rapidly, and I was pleased to see how this industry is growing, and we see that it can address the needs of the potential investors, and which means that amongst the investors, both private and corporate ones, the capacity is building and awareness is raising, which means that ecosystem is developing. We have new specialists, we have new experts, and we have venture startups, and their opportunities to talk to regulator, and regulators are not scary. So we are busting myths. I would like to wish you a good forum. We have one day ahead. There are many, many sessions. Thank you so much for being here. Have a good day.